London, a city brimming with history, culture, and over 8 million people. The city is built around one of the world's most iconic rivers, the Thames, which has been a lifeline for trade, culture, and life itself for centuries. However, for decades, this river has faced a silent crisis. Every year, millions of tons of raw sewage spill into the Thames, threatening wildlife, public health, and the environment. A problem that's rooted in a 150-year-old system that was designed for a city half its current size. A stinky situation, the crisis that started it all. By 2005, studies confirmed what many had suspected. The ecological collapse of the Thames was real. Oxygen levels had dropped so low that fish could no longer survive. But how did it get this bad? The answer lies in the history of London's sewage system, which was never meant to handle the massive growth of the city. Back in the mid-19th century, London was booming. Its population skyrocketed from 1 million in 1800 to 2.5 million by 1850. But with this rapid growth came a massive problem: waste management. At the time, there was no modern sewage system. Human waste was either dumped in cesspools or directly into the streets and rivers. And where better to dump it than in the River Thames? The river became an open sewer, with both human and industrial waste flowing freely into it. This situation was about as sanitary as it sounds, leading to devastating consequences. Cholera epidemics ravaged the city, killing tens of thousands of people. At first, it was believed that diseases were spread by foul air, the miasma theory. But Dr. John Snow's groundbreaking work in 1854 proved otherwise. He traced a cholera outbreak to a single water pump in Soho, revealing that waterborne pathogens were the real culprit. Despite mounting evidence, little action was taken until the summer of 1858, a period that would go down in history as the Great Stink. That summer, the heat intensified the stench of the polluted Thames to unbearable levels, so much so that even members of Parliament working near Westminster considered abandoning their chambers altogether. It was the unbearable stench that finally pushed Parliament into action. In a rare moment of clarity, they allocated £3 million to address the city's sanitation problem once and for all. The man who saved London, Joseph Bazalgette, the chief engineer of the Metropolitan Board of Works, was tasked with designing a modern sewer system for London. His solution was ingenious: an extensive network of intercepting sewers to collect waste from the city and divert it to the Thames estuary, where tidal flows would carry it out to sea. Construction began in 1859 and was completed in 1875 with 6 main interceptors and 4 pumping stations, including Crossness and Abbey Mills. These stations used powerful beam engines to lift sewage from low-lying areas. Bazalgette, quote, "S work improved public health and transformed London's landscape. The new embankments along the Thames concealed sewers while creating space for roads, public gardens, and underground railways. His system reduced cholera outbreaks and other waterborne diseases, allowing the Thames to heal and become a vital lifeline for the city. However, as London's population grew, the system began to show its age, struggling to cope with the city's rapid expansion and climate change-induced rainfall events. The super sewer, a new hope for the Thames. Fast forward to today, and London's population has more than doubled, surpassing 8 million people. And Bazalgette's system, well, it's struggling to keep up. Here's where the super sewer comes into play. The problem lies in the design of the original system, which was built as combined sewers. This means the sewers carry both wastewater from homes and rainwater from streets. When there's too much water for the system to handle, say after a heavy rain, it overflows, spilling raw sewage directly into the Thames. To give you an idea of just how bad it's gotten, in 2023 alone, this happened 76 times. That's raw sewage in the river for 1,500 hours on average, amounting to a shocking 39 million tons of untreated sewage being dumped into the Thames each year. That's enough to fill 15 Olympic-sized swimming pools every week. It's not just gross, it's harmful. The pollution kills fish, damages ecosystems, and makes parts of the river unsafe for humans. Something had to be done, and fast. Enter the Thames Tideway Tunnel, the so-called super sewer. This 25-kilometer-long tunnel, running up to 70 meters deep beneath the city, is the bold solution to this problem. But how does it work? The super sewer in action, how it works. The Thames Tideway Tunnel is designed to intercept sewage from 34 overflow points along the river. These are the places where waste would normally spill into the Thames during heavy rainfall. The tunnel slopes gently downward from Acton in West London to Abbey Mills in East London, where it connects to an existing system called the Lee Tunnel. Once the sewage enters the tunnel, gravity takes over, moving everything towards the Beckton sewage treatment works, the largest sewage treatment plant in Europe. At each interception point, engineers installed something called a vortex drop shaft, a spiral-shaped tube that controls the speed at which sewage enters the tunnel. Without these, the force of falling wastewater could damage the structure over time. And to prevent foul odors from escaping, the tunnel has an advanced air management system that maintains a stable air pressure inside. The tunnel itself acts like a giant storage tank, holding up to 1.6 million cubic meters of sewage at any given time. That's roughly equivalent to 600 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Construction, a mammoth undertaking. Building the super sewer was no easy feat. The project involved 6 massive tunnel boring machines, each weighing 1,200 tons, about 200 double-decker buses. These machines could excavate up to 25 meters of tunnel per day. Each tunnel boring machines had a crew of 20 workers monitoring the operation 24/7. And to add a personal touch, each machine was given a name: Rachel, Charlotte, and even Mint, after prominent women in history. One of the biggest challenges faced during construction was London's geology. The city is built on layers of clay, chalk, gravel, and sand, all of which behave differently when excavated. Engineers had to constantly adjust the TBM settings to avoid collapses or flooding. And of course, there was the added difficulty of working in one of the busiest cities in the world. To minimize disruption to London's already congested roads, most construction materials were transported by barge along the Thames, eliminating the need for 400,000 lorry trips and reducing carbon emissions by 10,000 tons. The tunnel is finally here. Construction began in 2016, and by 2020, major tunneling had wrapped up. But like any big project, there were a few setbacks along the way. The pandemic caused delays and increased costs, pushing the completion date back by about 2 years and raising the total cost from £3.8 billion to around £5 billion. However, by February 2025, the super sewer is fully operational. In the late stages of 2024, partial operations began, and already the tunnel has captured over 5.5 million cubic meters of sewage. That's enough to fill more than 2,200 Olympic-sized swimming pools. What does this mean for London? The impact of the Thames Tideway Tunnel on London's water quality is already noticeable. Once fully operational, the tunnel will reduce sewage spills by 95%, drastically improving the health of the river. Water quality monitoring predicts that dissolved oxygen levels in the Thames will rise by 30%, making it possible for salmon and otters to return to central London. The benefits aren't just ecological. This super sewer is also making recreational activities like rowing and kayaking safer for the people who enjoy the river every day. The critics and the future. Of course, no project of this scale comes without its critics. Some argue that one tunnel might not be enough, especially as climate change increases the frequency of extreme weather events. Others question whether alternative solutions like green infrastructure could have achieved similar results at a lower cost. But when you look at comparable projects around the world, like New York City's deep tunnel system or Singapore's deep tunnel sewage system, it's clear that large-scale solutions like the Thames Tideway Tunnel are necessary for cities facing similar challenges. Looking to the future, the tunnel will be operated using AI-driven sensors to predict maintenance needs, and success is expected to reduce annual sewage discharges from 39 million tons to just 2 million. And there you have it. If you think this engineering marvel is as impressive as we do, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe for more jaw-dropping stories. Got thoughts on this £5 billion sewer? Drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to ring that bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, keep it clean and stay curious.